Hi guys, welcome back to I Was Just Thinking. I appreciate you tuning back in. As you know, we're doing a series about our story, our family story. I'm Niecy. I have my mom Jackie here with me, and I have my sister Bonnie here with me as well. And I felt like we could come together and tell our story. We may have other guests join in at a later time, but right now we're in the COVID-19 crisis, so we are just us, and this is part of our Stay Home With Me series. So continue to tune in. We'll have a lot of great content. So we'll get back into sharing our story. And like we've all been saying, this is our story. It's not always pretty, but it's ours. So with that, I'll say when we left off, Mom was talking, and we were talking about her and Daddy getting married, and they had moved out of their first apartment, which was really kind of like a room, sounds like, with a kitchenette. Yeah, kitchenette. Oh, it was a studio. Okay. That's what you call it. That's what we're going to call it. And so now they've moved into T.B. Watkins. So I'll go over to your mom and say, okay, so now you and Dad are married. You're in your first apartment. You say you just loved it. You just was just as happy as could be. So what happens next?
Well, we were in our little apartment, a little one-bedroom apartment. Soon after we moved in, management came to us and said that we're fixing to remodel this building for children. And so you're going to have to move. And so we moved over to, well, the address was 1612 East 12th Street Terrace.
Okay.
Which was 12th and Vine. One of them popular streets in Kansas City. But we moved in there, and it was a 2-bedroom apartment. So we kind of upgraded. It was on the 2nd floor, where the other one was on the 3rd floor. Our first apartment we gotten over there was on the 3rd floor. So we moved into the 2-bedroom. It was nice. It was just a different area of the same complex.
Okay.
Not long after then, I found out I was pregnant with Bonnie. Started missing school. And one day the principal called me into his office and told me that he had heard rumors that I was pregnant. And back then, girls weren't allowed to go to school pregnant. At least you didn't.
In the 60s, yeah.
Yeah, back in the 60s, there was a no-no, and you were shamed and all that stuff. And
did you tell him, like, I'm married or any of that? Did that matter?
I did, and he told me, he said it, before I could even say it, he told me, and I heard you got the nerve to call yourself married.
Oh, man. So he didn't even prove it that?
No.
Right.
No, he didn't. And so he tried to get me out of the school by transferring me to Manual High School, which was a vocational school that in the neighborhood, but it had a very, very bad reputation. And I didn't want to go, and so I didn't go. So I dropped out. I stopped going. Eventually they called my mother.
You're still 17.
Yeah, I was like, I'm still in school, and I told her, she wanted to know, like, why haven't you been going to school? Because I had promised her that I'd finish school.
Okay,
that was one of my things. I had promised to finish high school. I couldn't do that, and so I didn't do it. But I came out, and sad part about it is that I went to my high school graduation, and so many of my fellow students, ladies, walked across the stage more pregnant than I was.
What?
I was like 7 months by the time graduation came.
And they was like, what, 8, 9?
Seemed like it.
They was bigger than I was. did they go to this technical school and then they let them walk, or they let them stay there at your high school?
They stayed at Lincoln.
Mm.
Yeah. I went to my high school graduation. And
I wonder how you got singled out like that. That's
I don't
weird.
know. Well, I think about it, it's because my the principal of Lincoln at the time, the principal of mine, when we were in junior high,
Mm-hmm.
he came to that school when we started in the 7th grade, and he had said, I'm following you all to your graduation.
Mm-hmm.
And he was going to retire. And he did.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if that's the reason I got singled out. I don't know. But I know
There were others.
there were others.
Mm-hmm.
There were several others.
And that's something.
Yeah.
One thing I did want to circle back to, you were talking about that you guys moved to an apartment on 12th and Vine. That was a popular location. I just want to let the viewers know that we stay in Kansas City, Missouri, and so she's referring to the Vine Street district, where it's like a historical blues and jazz district. It still exists today, the 18th and Vine district, so that's just like right up the road from there.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I just wanted to put a little context around that piece.
And 12th Street, 18th and Vine is a historical landmark.
Mm-hmm.
But 12th Street had its own history too.
Yeah.
It had a big history with the music and nightclubs and all kind of stuff.
Just on 12th Street. Yeah.
Itself.
Woo.
Yeah.
So now you 7 months pregnant, and you now I imagine you probably had me shortly thereafter. I guess.
Right,
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah.
I did. And it was, that was quite traumatic for me. I was in labor with you for 3 days and 2 nights. I'll never forget it.
It was tragic.
It was, and that's why I always told y'all, once y'all start having children, walk, exercise, do not lay around and do
You
nothing.
laid around too much.
It was too much, and by the time I started trying to walk around and stuff, it was almost too late, and so it took more longer than it should have. I remember I had called your grandfather to come and take me to the hospital because your dad went to work, and we didn't have a car. And so he came over to take me to the hospital, and he had your aunt and uncle in the car with him, and went to the hospital, went into labor. Of course, it was quite an ordeal because Bonnie was turned, she was breached, and they kept trying to turn her, and she didn't want to do it. So it was quite an ordeal. And I found out, I thought my mother, because she came in later, I thought sure that she and my mother-in-law were out in the waiting room. And I remember sending the nurse out there, go find my mother, my mother-in-law.
Nobody.
Both of them had left.
Wow.
They had left and went wherever home, I guess. They said they thought I had a long time to go.
No. They didn't anticipate you having it.
No, not at all. So we but eventually I did have it. They had an epidural and all that good stuff.
So you were by yourself?
Yes.
I couldn't imagine going through something like that by myself. I know there are people that do it, but man, if there's any time you need support in your life, it's right then and there. Man,
you know, I had no idea what was going to happen.
I bet you that's why you've been, well, we'll talk about that later, but you was there for almost every one of ours, so you was like, my babies ain't gonna do that. You ain't gonna do it by yourself no more.
That was traumatic. It really was. So,
Yeah.
Glad you made it through it. That she breached too. Bonnie wants to come in all different.
With struggles. I've always been different.
You always have. She has.
been different.
yeah.
Wow.
Stubborn too.
So while one of the pieces that I wanted to clarify, so while you guys were staying in T.B. Watkins, his daddy's parents also stayed there?
His mother
His mother.
His mother and his younger siblings were still lived there. His father and his mother had separated many years before.
Mm-hmm. Before you met Daddy?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
They had been separated.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They hadn't divorced at that time, but they had been separated for many years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
But his mother still lived there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they were like right around the corner.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So what was it like joining that family? Because you were a single child. I mean, well, you know, you have siblings, but your mom raised you as a single child because you had siblings from your dad's side. But how was it joining Daddy's family? Because I know Daddy has a big family, right? Mm-hmm. So what was that like?
I loved it because I didn't have any siblings. I mean, my siblings on my father's side, I had gotten to know them, but not that well. But his family was so large, and they did so much stuff together all the time. They had picnics, and they come over and play cards together, or they go to church together. And it was just a big family thing that they had, and I just loved it.
Yeah.
You know? I took to their family very strongly.
Yeah.
I know.
You craved that kind of connection.
Yeah, because I didn't have it, you know, growing up. Even though I had relatives and stuff, we still weren't that close. It's not like theirs was.
Yeah.
You know, so I truly, truly enjoyed it. As time went on.
Yeah.
Things changed, but yeah.
So now you have Bonnie. You came back home. Did you still have a job?
No, because it was part of me having to be in school.
Oh, okay.
Because part of that was through the school.
Oh, okay.
My job was. In fact, my teacher, my business education teacher, her husband was the one that I went to work for. And so she used to come down to the office all the time and check on me and see how I was doing it. But part of the job was part of my school stuff. So when I left the school, I had to leave the job. And being pregnant for the first time, I had a lot of issues too. So it was probably for the best. So yeah.
So now you had me, you got a new baby, a new family, you got around all these people. So what's the next major, event? Is it Niecy being born, or was there any other like significant event that happened next? Because that was around, to me, I always think about during the time that we were born, like even before I was born, that was around the time of the civil rights movement. And so, Mama's a young, very young. I'm born in 67. 68 is when Martin Luther King died, right? April 68. You have any memories of that you could kind of share or
like
think
a
about?
young mom wed and all these it had to be a temperament in the communities and stuff about that during that time.
With Martin Luther King, yes, definitely, there definitely was. Tensions were high. It was a horrible time in our community, the black community. The kids got upset because they wouldn't let him out of school for his funeral. And so a lot of them walked out. Some of your father's family was some of the instigators in that. And they went from school to school getting children to come out of the school, and they got them to come out. And they dealt with the mayor, they dealt with the police department, the police chief, and trying to get them all to go back to school or to come to some kind of compromise. And when they didn't give it to them, things just went terrible. They started looting and burning and tearing up stuff, especially in our communities. Stores that, we thought
mom and pop shops.
That had been in our neighborhoods for years that we relied on. All of a sudden they were breaking down windows and looting their stores. They were robbed. They were pulling people off of buses. I'm telling you, I was never so ashamed of our people in my life. They were people stopping at stoplights on the corners. They was, throwing rocks and stuff at their cars.
That reminds you of the Rodney King thing. That was
But it's like, the thing that I don't get is like Mom saying that all the mom and pop shops and stuff that's in the black community, why would you loot that? But that was your
because
store.
They weren't black.
The people that owned it,
so
because the people weren't black that owned it. So most of them weren't black. A lot of them were Jewish, Italians, or something like that. But they weren't.
Black-owned
businesses.
So that
some of the black-owned businesses down on 18th Street and stuff were still there. But a lot of
so they took it out on the other minorities and other communities.
Other ethnic.
Not that you're saying that that's right, but you kind of understand a little bit more.
Yeah.
But
But because they were limited and where they went and where they, I
bet you
they didn't go near the plaza.
Right.
They
nobody went past the truce line.
Right.
You can't go past the truce
you
line.
was staying right, and they didn't go no further than 35th Street, maybe.
Wow. That was as far south as they went in.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was.
So I'm trying to picture this. So this is during the time where the rioting in Kansas City went on, and
it was all over the country. It wasn't just Kansas City.
Yeah.
It was everywhere.
It was
all over the country. It was an uprising. But in our area, Daddy was kind of out there, and kind of with some of the groups that were kind of picketing and saying, "Hey, these are not right," and things like that.
Yeah. But I think our
if you
families
can,
I want to say though that I think, and at least I've learned through the years, is that our family still has, I call it very civic-minded parts about them.
Yeah,
we like to be of service, to help people. We don't want to see people downtrodden or anything. So from going to work in government to going, grandma, my dad's mom, she was very civil-minded. So I feel like she taught her children to be very civil-minded. And I know when us growing up, and I'm sure we'll talk about it through our, conversations, our daddy kind of instilled in us a sense of, you are responsible, you stand up for yourself, you take care of other people.
Representing the African American race in the right manner.
Don't be embarrassing yourself. All that. We got all that.
Whatever you do it the best.
Do it the best. And all that. Be the best at whatever you do. So that's why I feel like she kind of gave us that foundation. Grandma did of
She pulled me into it. Like I said, she's the president of the tenant association. She pulled me in and told them that I was their new secretary. So
that's one of the most fondest memories I have of her is going to a meeting over off like 8th or 9th Street. Up some stairs. I don't remember. I was a little bitty girl, but I remember going to a meeting with Grandma, and she was there. And then that's how I remember Alvin Brooks when he was very young. And I remember him, but I didn't know him. Does that make sense? Yeah. But you remember just little stuff like that where she was very sick.
That's one of our community leaders.
Yeah,
her and him were very, very good friends, and she was supervisor over Area 2, they called it.
What's an area? What is that?
It was our neighborhood.
Wow, it's like a district-like thing.
Yes, a district,
wow.
Area 2.
Wow.
Yeah. So those were some really trying times, and so you guys were just trying to keep it together and keep your family protected. And
yes, I can remember my mother was babysitting Bonnie at the time, and I was going to school at a vocational place downtown on 16th and Grand at the time. And when it broke out, and they let us go early, and a bunch of us from class, we walked up going to catch the bus home, and looked down the street, down 12th Street, and it was just a swarm of people running up the street.
Ooh, girl, that would be terrifying.
It was. And they,
you're like, ooh, I better run up.
Yeah, we did. We ended up running down to John their stuff, and they locked the doors like you can't come out over here.
You ain't coming here.
Oh God, yeah, it was horrible. It was horrible.
God,
And then
that had
when
to
we
be
finally did try to go back, they had shot tear gas all out, you know, 'cause they had this big thing up at the city hall steps, and
Like a gathering of a bunch of people.
yes, they was trying to talk to the mayor and you know, everybody, and they was trying to tell the kids to, you know, this, you know, they was
So
trying
these
to
is
talk.
mostly children, teenagers.
These were
young adults.
teenagers, yes. These
Wow.
were young adults, and you know, with something like that get going, they just felt like they had the power and they was on it. So it took them to disperse them. They ended up with the tear gas and stuff.
Wow.
I mean, you couldn't even walk down the street.
Wow.
It was horrible. I remember when I got to my mother's house to pick up Bonnie, it was still going on. So I wanted to go back up and go back up on 12th Street. My mother stayed on 12th and Park at the time. And I wanted to go back and see what else was going on. And she was fussing at me like, you get back here, you got a baby now, you can't be out there.
Right.
You tell her, where you think you at?
Tell her. Get her, get her. Right. Wow. So that was a lot. And so
That was in
68.
April of
April
68.
68.
Yeah.
Then maybe a year later, Niecy.
Well, before Niecy
what
was
happened?
born,
Go ahead.
August of that year.
Mm-hmm.
August the 1st of that year.
Mm-hmm.
68.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
My father died
Wow.
up in Minneapolis.
Yeah.
But he had left Minneapolis and had
Went
moved
to
to California.
Yeah.
They were supposed to start over, him and his family. And he died. And Bonnie was a month old that day.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, 11 months old. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a very traumatic time.
Wow.
Yeah.
I have to think back.
And you still like 19, 20
Yes.
years old. You still ain't even hit 20
No,
yet.
not yet.
Wow. Go ahead.
So, Daddy died.
Mm-hmm.
I was tore up because I was very close to my father. I love my father dearly.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to go to his funeral.
Mm-hmm.
My dad's sister, she arranged to be able to, she wanted to go too. And my father-in-law, grandpa, and your grandma helped me raise the money to get us to go. And
Now, which grandma? Daddy's side?
Your daddy's mother.
Okay.
Helped me go get the money for us to fly out there.
Mm-hmm.
And my mother got sick.
Oh.
She had caught this bad cold. They told her she had pneumonia if she didn't take better care of herself. That, you know, she'd end up in the hospital. Well, she begged me not to go to the funeral.
Mm-hmm.
I told her I had to go. You know, I just couldn't not go.
Mm-hmm.
So I went, and when I came back, she was in the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
And she was in the hospital for the next 10 years.
Mm.
Yeah, so there's a point I'd like to take a break.
Wow, that's really deep.
That was a
Yeah.
hard one. That was a hard one to
Thank
deal
you for
with.
sharing that with us.
You're
Yeah.
quite welcome, yeah. But it was rough.
Yeah.
It was very rough, and times after that was pretty rough after that too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I agree. This is a great time for a break. Things are getting a little deep, you know, touch your heart, you know. Like you say, it's not always pretty, but it's ours.
Mm-hmm.
It's our story. All right. Well, I say, you guys, please tune back in. And come back for more. We'll be sharing more content. We'll be right back. Subscribe. Click that notification button so you'll be notified when we drop new videos. Thank you.